Are words in Hebrew for birth, bore, similar to conceive, conceived? I tried to search this. Saw Jewish rabbi found Bible code. Jesus born Tevet 10. I think more likely conceived. Thoughts on codes? I don't know about Tevet 10. I don't know. There are words that mean to be born or birth, and there are words for conceived. Obviously, just thematically, they're connected concepts, but they're different words. But as far as thoughts on codes, I'll tell you a story, and this will be my answer. Whatever it was, 25, 30 years ago, when people started hearing about, these Bible codes and such, and a man wrote a book, and he went and talked to these different rabbis who were doing all this research in Israel, and he wrote a book, and then people started getting Bible code programs, and they started looking for this, that, and the other, and I'll confess that I was very intrigued by it. At that time, I would speak at different conferences, and different people would be there that were very interested in this, and some of you may remember this man. Some of you probably never heard of him, but his name was Yaakov Ramsel. And Yaakov Ramsel was a very elderly man. He was Jewish by birth, but he was a believer in Yeshua, and he spent pretty much the rest of his life doing this kind of thing. And he wrote books that were published about this. But he did it all by hand. He didn't do it by computer. And so there was a lot of interest in this, and I was interested in it as well. But then people started coming to me and saying, I think I'm supposed to go be a missionary in China. Will you see if that's in the Bible code? Then I said, I'm done. Because people started using it for divination, things like that. By the way, there's a big difference in what they called equidistant letter sequences, an ELS, and in what it would be considered to be something that has been encoded in the biblical text. Because the things that were encoded were things that appeared in places that it defied all statistical probability. An ELS, an equidistant letter sequence, is things you would expect to find in any large volume of work. In other words, you can skip letters, and if you get War and Peace and you work at it long enough, you can find things coded in War and Peace. But they're just simply an equidistant letter sequence. But then there were those things that would be improbable mathematically to be able to explain, which then led to the idea that somebody must have designed this, and who designed it, But anyway, we usually get involved with stuff and mess it all up. And so my thing about codes is I'm just trying to figure out what the simple text says right now, how to apply it to my life. I don't need to confuse the matter by trying to figure out is something encoded in there, with all due respect to those who ask the question.